Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Ops with Hriyen. This will be our first series of our Terraform playlist where we are going to be learning Terraform on Azure Part 1. So in this video, we are going to be learning introduction of Terraform and how to set up for infrastructure as code, which is Terraform. At the same time, we would also see how we can install some of the tools such as Git, Azure CLI, Terraform, VS Code, and more. All right. So if you are someone who's new to my YouTube channel, I would like to give a small introduction about myself. Well, my name is Hriyen from Tripura. I'm a DevOps engineer with 8 years of experience in the IT industry. Currently working as a lead software engineer at Virtusa. I specialize in Azure and also work with AWS, focusing on cloud infrastructure, platform automation, and DevOps practice. I hold the following certifications such as Azure 900, which is Azure Fundamentals, and then Azure 104, which is your Azure Administrator Associate. The next is Azure 500, which is your Azure Security Engineer Associate. Azure 400, which is Azure DevOps Engineer Expert. The next one is Azure 305, which is Azure Solution Architect Expert. And another one is that is Azure AWS SAAC02, which is AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate. So these are some of the certifications that I have done till now. In my free time, I love sharing knowledge and helping tech enthusiasts grow in their cloud and DevOps journey. Also, if you like to know me or connect with me, I have shared my LinkedIn profile over here, so you feel free to connect with me if you need or if you ever need any sort of help. All right, now let us understand Terraform. What is Terraform? You might have heard already Terraform terms, but or may not heard, or you may be new to IT. That's okay. We are all here to learn and grow together, right? So when somebody asks what is Terraform, Terraform is an open source infrastructure as code tool by HashiCorp that defines and manages infrastructure. That means we automate cloud infrastructure using code. That means instead of using manual rewrite, we use something called GUI, graphic user interface. Instead of that, like by going to instead of going to the portal, everything be managed, be write everything through the code, which is your Terraform code. All right. Next is whenever we write a Terraform code, basically, right? Actually, Terraform uses HCL, which is your HashiCorp configuration language they use. Unlike just like we have different kind of programming language like Python, Java, and all. No? Similarly, when it comes to the writing all your infrastructure code, we use a HashiCorp language, which is your HCL language. Okay. Next is because also Terraform supports multiple cloud provider. That means as you can see Azure, AWS, GCP, and more. All right. Next, why Terraform is so powerful? You might have already heard. Everywhere people are talking about Terraform, Terraform, Terraform. But have you ever thought why even so much popular? Why even people are so much talking about them, about Terraform, right? Let's see that. The first one is because Terraform basically supports multi-cloud provider. That means whether you are using Azure or you are using AWS or you are using Google Cloud or maybe you are using Alibaba or any other cloud platform or maybe even on-prem, they support. Okay, that means multi-cloud support. Second, it's a declarative syntax. That means based on project's requirement or maybe your requirement, you write a code and this can be shared across the team members. You just write a code basically instead of doing manually. So once your code is ready, this can be reused everywhere, do whatever you want, right? Okay, now the next one is state management. State management is something so crucial in DevOps practice because what is state management? Something called is Terraform, something known as state file. That means whatever infrastructure that you are going to build or manage, everything is stored in your state file. Now, why it is important? Because without having state file, infrastructure cannot be managed. Reason being, when I say the state file basically contains the metadata of your actual resource in your Azure or AWS or GCP or whatever cloud it is, right? That means that in real environment, whatever resource that you have deployed or managing it, those all metadata will be stored in your state file. Let's go to the next one. Now, modular architecture. Why it is also important? Because now see, imagine now you are building one virtual machines in simplest example. Now this virtual machines you want to deploy in, let's say you have already deployed in the dev environment. Now you want to deploy another environment, let's say staging environment. Then next you want to move to the productions. Now imagine now you have already written the virtual machines configurations using Terraform and it is ready, it has been tested, everything's good, code is ready, that means right, using HashiCorp language. Now what you can do is that instead of, now imagine now you have to same replicate into another environment. That means the identical virtual machines or maybe resource you want to replicate into another higher environment. That is how normally it works, right, in the development perspective. You first write code, give a test, do a lot of tests, and once you're done testing everything, once all okay, you move to the higher environment. That is how the process comes to development. So in this case also, now imagine now if you have done already with the particular module, now you can basically you can same resource can be reused in another platform or sorry another environment. Okay, so this will help you to save your time, your efforts, error free. Okay, the last one is version control and automations. So whatever changes you're doing, every single control, sorry, changes is going to be tracked. So that means if somebody is doing something wrong also, you can easily revert back if at all needed. Okay, now let's understand Terraform versus other infrastructure as code tools. As you can see in the screen right now, about tool, scope, language, cloud support, and strengths. Now, as you can see, Terraform basically means that infrastructure plus multi-cloud. Then it uses a HCL language, that means HashiCorp configuration language. And Terraform supports multi-cloud provider and declarative and a modular. Declarative, as I mentioned, you declare as a code and reuse it. And also we can be reuse once your module is ready or once the code is ready. You can reuse whichever environment you wish to. Now, but when it comes to we also have other infrastructure as code tools such as Azure ARM template and biceps. But here, if you take a look here, when it comes to the scope, right, it talks about only Azure. That means this particular ARM as well as the biceps can only be used within Azure in itself. And when it comes to the language, what language or syntax they use, it is JSON. Azure RM uses JSONs and biceps uses biceps language. Now, when it comes to the cloud support, it only support Azure and native Azure support. So as you can see, right, the difference. So Terraform has so much powerful tool that we can learn and we can explore and do it with so much more with Terraform. Okay, now we will try to understand that some of the tools which are required to install. So here, as you can see, the first one is Terraform. That is your core engine for infrastructure as code. Second one is a Git. That is for version control of your code for your code. Third is Azure CLI, authenticate and manage Azure resources. The last one is a BS Code, that code editor with Terraform extension. So I'm going to walk you through everything one by one. Please keep in mind, it is very simple and straightforward. The first one is Terraform. So because I want to work locally, right? So I need to install Terraform first. So what I'll do to install Terraform, go to the your favorite browser. In my case, I went here. That is your Chrome browser. Then you type your Terraform download. You can just type Terraform download for Windows, right? Depends on this thing. Now come down. Now as you come down here, you will see this is for Windows, right? If you're using a Linux, you can select based on that. As you can see here, right? You can choose whichever you want. In my case, we are using the Windows, so I'm going to select not this AMD one. I'm going to select 386. Okay, I'm just going to download. In my case, I have already done it, so I don't want to do one second, but I'm going to show you the process. So let's say I'm going to download this one. Okay, so yeah. So once it's download, I'll go to the download button. I mean page. See, this is the how I have now. Let me copy this one. I can copy all together. Now once I copy, I will go to the here. Create one folder here in your any location of your choice. In my case, I created a folder called as Terraform. As you can see, config. You can give any name, your favorite name. Okay, you just place that one. So I have already copied. So I am just going to, as you can see right now, it is there. But let me just do one second. As you can see, it is going to be replaced. So that's okay. So once you've done this thing, copy this part. Okay, copy this part. Then go to the like environment variable. Go to the environment variable. As you can see, systems. Right, just go here. Now, as you can see here, environment variable, go here. Then next, you can go with the user level or the system level. So in my case, maybe if you don't have access to the system level, you can do with the user level as well. So that should be fine. All right, now let me check here. Let me select here. Now go to edit. Now I don't have it. You can select here. Just keep new. That's it. In my case, I have done already in the system level. Okay, that is how. So once you do this one, what you do next is that you are going to check, open your CMD command prompt, just run as normal user, and then next what you can do is that you type Terraform Watson. If you're able to see on Windows like this with the name, you're good to go now. Now you can run your Terraform. That means we are good with the first one. Now what we are going to do is that next step is to basically work with the Git. Now we are trying to install the Git. Terraform installation is done. Now let us do the Git. Go here, first one, Git download. Now you might be thinking why we need a Git. Git normally in Terraform right as of now you will not be required, but then it is required as you learn further. This is why I'm just making sure that you do it from now itself. Okay, so come down. See if you see here, you can go based on the portable everything. So I can select this one, just install, right? Once you install this thing, then you go to the download folder. As you can just let me go back again. This is a Git like that. Double click here, as you can see. Just put next. Okay, then you put next. So as you can see now, they are trying to remove my previous one because I had already installed before. So in your case, it will be installed completely new. So all right. So this nothing configurations need to be changed or do anything. But then we need to understand one more thing while working with Git. That is your configuring your global credentials like your username and the email ID, because this will help you to track let's say if you're doing any changes locally, somebody need to know, right? Who's making changes, right? To identify the kind of the persons, so it is required basically to configure or to define your username and email ID so that we can communicate if there is anything wrong, right? Anyways, let's not wait much time. It will happen anyways in the backend. Let's go to the next one. Once you install, now as I told you, you can check the Git version. Once it is successfully installed, you can go to Git version. Now you can see Git version 2.0 number. Now that means this is now. But then I have installed the Git. Now I still need to do one more thing when it comes to Git. That is, you need to define your user and the email as I mentioned. Now I can type git config, okay, double dash global. Then I can give a user dot name. That means this will help me to see my username. As you can see here, in similar way, instead of the name, I can give an email. Now I can see my email ID. Now, if you want to change, let's say you're someone who's doing for the first time, and you may not have this username and email IDs configured. So what you can do is, if you're coming and doing for the first time, just follow along. Just type. Suppose you want to first give a name. Just give name. Let's say instead of Hriyen, just double colons you put any name that let's say TechOps. Imagine now I'm just typing just any random name. TechOps with Hriyen. Let's say. Okay, so I can give like this. Now if I type the again name, now you can see the name is changed now. Okay, same way you can do for the password. All right, now let's go the next one. So let me close this one. I think we are good here for now. As you can, it is still taking, no problem. We'll go next one about basically what else? Then next Azure CLI. Why Azure CLI is required? Because as I mentioned that we are going to be dealing with Azure resources, so we should have Azure CLI also installed. So let's do that. Now Azure CLI. Then next Azure CLI. Why Azure CLI is required? Because as I mentioned that we are going to be dealing with Azure resources, so we should have Azure CLI also installed. So let's do that. Now Azure CLI, you can type Azure CLI. Normally, trust me, Azure CLI will be already installed for you. You don't need to do it. But then in case if you at all need it, normally in today's all the new systems or OS, Azure CLI is something not required. Mostly it will be there. But then if you feel it is not there, you can check also. So I'll show you how to check. Let's say if you don't know how to check whether Azure CLI is installed or not, what we can do is that come here and then we can check here. So what I'll do is that come here, you can type it will be as a version, as you can see, Azure CLI is installed. So that's the thing. Now that means it is good right now. We don't need to install. If you want to install, this is again as I told, just come here, select this one, and there is an option, right? You can see. Just click this, it will get installed on Microsoft or anything. So you can just select this and then you can just start. Now next one is basically about the what I call VS Code. VS Code also is so much important because we mostly be writing all our Terraform code using VS Code itself, right? So that is why we need to install VS Code as well. So let me show you how to install VS Code as well. So, all right, now to install VS Code, you can type VS Code, download something like that. You get a first link, click over there, then select based on the operating system that you are using it. In my case, it's a Windows, so select this one. Once you install this one, I can go here. Then, as you can see, it is getting downloaded automatically. So, yeah. So once what happened once you install this thing, maybe let me move this thing. As you can see, it is still taking time. Let's wait. after a couple of maybe at least a minute or a second. It may take. Anyways, now imagine now you have done all the installation. Now let me refresh this page also so that I can see. Now as you can see, now it is still not successfully downloaded, but you can see, right? So okay, now as you can see, it is successfully installed. Now just go to next. Okay, just click next. Now as you can see, you have to accept it. Go next. Just next, next, next. That's it. You just need to do this one. Okay. So all right, team. Now let us see the VS Code is installed. So as you can see, it has been installed. Now what is the next thing? I think we are good with the installation, right? Yes, we are good with the tool installations. Next, what we are trying to do is that we have done all the tool installation. All right, team. So now let us recap. Now what we have learned in this session is what is Terraform, why it is powerful or useful, and then how it compares to other ISF tools we have seen, and then tool you need to get started, such as we have installed Git, then what else? Um, Terraform, Azure CLI, and then VS Code. And the last one is how to install Terraform, Git, then Azure CLI and VS Code. We all have done this thing. Okay. So now what we are going to do is that we are going to check your knowledge. So try to give your best when it comes to this test because the question seems very simple, but then I want you to think and answer accordingly. The first question is, as you can see, what is Terraform primarily used for? Option A, monitoring cloud resources. B, writing application code. C, managing infrastructure as code. D, creating virtual machines manually. And another question, that is question number two. Which language does Terraform use for configurations? Option YAML, JSON, HCL, and XML. And the last question is Terraform cloud agnostic? Option A, no, it only works with AWS. Option B, yes, it supports multi-cloud providers. Option C, only works with Azure. Option D, only supports on-premises infrastructure, right? So these are the small questions, my dear friends. So try to answers in the comment below so that I can see where you are progressing on. If there is any requirement, if there is any kind of help you needed, I can guide you for anything, right? So try to answer these small questions. This will help me as well as encourage you to basically, learn faster. So you should be exploring more of this. All right. Now that's all for today's session, my dear friends. So once again, thank you for today's video. In the next video, we will see how to basically work with Terraform, understanding the file structures and how to write the code of Terraform for various resources. All right, so let's wind up this session here. See you in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye bye.